Hello, welcome back to the She Runs Strong podcast with me, Nikki Friedman, and my colleague Shona Hendricks. Today we are discussing Tokyo Marathon preparations, underlying health conditions, and how to cope with training, and the best bra for your boobs. Magic. Right, Shona. Hi, how are you doing? How's training?
I'm good, Nikki. Thank you. I think this is going to be a good episode. I'm quite excited about the best bra conversation. Definitely an important one. But I'm good. I am training, which is important.
Are you training? Because Valencia
I
is
am,
a few
and just
weeks away.
yeah, a couple of weeks away. Excuse me. And so yeah, I'm consistent. I mean, I wish I was doing a bit more perhaps, or maybe, but the most important thing is there's consistency, and that's just trying to balance. Work's been quite crazy, and social life has been quite crazy. This month has been very, very, very busy from a social perspective, and yeah, so just trying to balance all of that, which I think is tough. And I mean, those are the realities, right? We're not elite athletes. We don't always have the luxury of all these things. So yeah, just trying to balance it and but being consistent. So that's all we can ask for. And
you had a
you?
good first
Yeah.
start of the year where you did quite a lot of running. So, it's not like you haven't had running. It's just you've had a good time after and you've carried on partying since
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
ocean.
And through the Northern Hemisphere summer, and then
Yes.
just but it's good. It's good. It's a good balance. I really I don't really believe in balance being 50-50, like, balancing. I believe like you go all in on things, and so this is a new
Yes.
thing for me to try and balance social and all of it together. Because normally I'm always partying or always training or always working. So yeah, just
Right.
trying to find that balance now a little bit better. And again, that's the reality. I mean, people do this with careers and kids and all sorts, So I'm at least lacking the kids part, so I can go for my long run and come home and have a nap, right? Which a
Yeah.
lot of people can't afford to do with kids.
But I
So
suppose kids force you into going to bed a little bit earlier and getting up
mm,
earlier and not maybe drinking as much. So there is that.
good point.
I know it's
Yeah.
kind of getting real, Valencia. We've booked accommodation, so we know that it is round the corner, really. And I love getting into the structure and actually setting about a structured marathon plan and going,
Yes.
right, this is what I'm going to do, booking out my weekends for the long runs, and then finding some poor person to come and run
Come with you. Yeah, exactly. That's good. Good.
along with me. So yeah, so I'm looking forward to it. I'm also similar to you, so a bit on the back foot with it, but
Mm.
looking forward to getting some training done and getting there. It was an awesome marathon last year, so
Oh,
really
yeah.
looking forward to that.
Yeah, and if any of our listeners are gonna be there, let us know.
Yes.
Let us know in the comments and or get in touch with us, support@coachparry.com. Nikki and myself will be there, and it'll be awesome. It would be lovely to do a little
Yeah.
like little trot along for pre-marathon
'Cause
trot. But yeah.
we're there with another couple of the guys on the
Mm,
forum as well, so
yes.
so we're a bit of a Coach Parry clang that weekend. Clang, is
Yeah.
that a word? Gang,
Yeah,
gang.
getting depends how we
Um,
want to be portrayed. But yes, no, that'll be good. So yeah, let's but yes, while we're talking
sure.
marathon, let's
Yep,
maybe jump into it. So the first question is from Sophie, and Sophie is based in Melbourne. Sophie says, I've got an entry for New York Marathon. So she's running New York this year, but I've
amazing.
also managed to get an entry for Tokyo, which I
Oh,
mean,
lucky
is
you.
really, really tough. So for her sixth and final star, she does say, oh, well, but now she does need the seventh star for the city. We all in that same boat. But she goes, but I'm notorious for taking too much time off after a marathon and having to start all over again for the next one. What do you recommend I do between New York and Tokyo? So Sophie, you and me both. Recovery is obviously good, but
Shona's
what
been partying since the two oceans finished in it,
yeah,
eh?
exactly. So it's been a while, but yeah,
Good
Nikki,
goodness.
what are your thoughts for Sophie? What do you
Yeah,
recommend for her?
that's awesome you've got into those 2
Mm,
marathons, brilliant, and getting a place for Tokyo is amazing. The great thing is there's a really good length of time between the 2. I think there's about 16, 17 weeks between the 2. So it's perfect really to get some nice recovery in. So you can take some recovery, take a couple of weeks off, enjoy yourself, relax, because once you've gone through one training cycle mentally as well as physically, but more so mentally, it's quite nice not to have the structure that we have just
mm,
been talking about. So do take some downtime. There's no question of that. And then you want to ease yourself back in, and you don't. I mean, if you want to kind of go all the way through to Tokyo, and you haven't said whether you've got goals and time
Mm,
targets here, but you don't want to sort of take too much more than 2 weeks and then be easing back in for the next 2 to 4 weeks afterwards. And I would say all pretty much easy running thereafter. Maybe
mm,
add in some strides to some of your runs, but and you can cap your long run at 90-ish minutes, depending on what level of runner you are. But you could certainly just ease that back in and just sort of reset a little bit. Um, you will have gained a lot of fitness through your New York training cycle. So the best thing you can do with is Tokyo with is to capitalize on that and really compound that training cycle by not going too mad. So you don't need to do too much speed at the start or anything like that. Just do lots of easy running. And as you're talking about Tokyo, it's the start of March. So you go through the festive season, Christmas. I'm not sure what kind of religious, if you're
mm,
religious, but you also have that time which is quite busy and lively and festive. So really, if you can keep to 3 to 4 runs a week consistently with one longer run some point, maybe at the weekend, then that's going to bode you well for then going into January, where you can start to have a little bit more structure and start to build those long runs at the weekend.
mm.
Um, how we get now, you say you're notorious for taking too much time off a marathon. So how we get you back into that rhythm of running is really kind of down to you, I suppose, and your kind of motivation levels. I mean, Tokyo surely will motivate you because it's
Yeah.
a bit like gold dust getting a place for Tokyo. And I do find that often it's a bit like we're talking about with Valencia. We know it's a few weeks away, well, a month or so away, and we know we have to get our heads down now to train for that. And so hopefully the fact that you know after New York, after your couple of weeks rest recovery, that really Tokyo is looming on the horizon, that will be enough to get you back into some degree of training and just
Mm,
easy running. But you don't need to go too mad. You can just kind of tick along for a good few weeks, just nice and easy. Even 3 runs is
yeah.
fine. 4 runs, ideal. And strength training. Try
Yeah.
not to drop off the bandwagon of strength training. Try and really keep that going as well. And sometimes that's a good time just to get that a little bit more focused and ramped up a little bit just
Mhm.
to get strong. Really
Yeah.
depends on your times and how much December becomes busy for you, I guess. Have you ever
Yeah.
done marathons? I mean, I have done back-to-back marathons like this quite a lot. How about you, Shona? Have you done that?
Yeah, definitely. And I think I mean, as we mentioned, I'm also not great with taking too much time off after a race. So when it is that far away, 17 weeks, but that's, that sounds short, but yeah, I mean, essentially 4 months or so. You think you've got so much time. So what I like to do then in between that is try and set a B goal, a B or C goal for midway through those times, so that you then still working towards something. That's quite nice. So whether that's a faster 10K or a faster half, or so something like that, I think would be useful, Sophie, to do. So yeah, I think that's a nice thing. Yeah, Nikki's hit the nail on the head with everything else. I would set a goal for early Jan, because that then gets you training through the December period.
Mm.
And I mean, you from Melbourne, so Australia. So I know Southern Hemisphere. I mean, I know Christmas in the Northern Hemisphere is slightly different just because it's colder, but Southern Hemisphere Christmases are full of barbecues or braais and hanging out with everyone. So yeah, I think just just to keep you focused through that time, set a goal for early Jan, which will then just keep you a little bit focused through your training as
Yeah,
well. Yeah,
that's a good
that's
idea. Yep, yep.
it's
That's
always nice
awesome.
to it's
Tokyo will
always
be
nice to
great.
come through the festive season having trained, I think, and feeling. Of course, you're going to take that time off over Christmas period and all the rest, but it's just so nice to, and you'll have, hopefully you will have a little bit more time, it's in terms of not working perhaps. But yeah, so yeah, I think that's I would just set another smaller goal in between those two.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that sounds good. Good shout. Good shout. Okay.
good.
Right. Monica from the Coach Parry forum. Hi, coaches. My third marathon is coming up, Berlin, I seem to have run 700 to 800 meters extra in my last 2 marathons, according to my Garmin. So my last coach with another program felt that these extra distances were real. While one is supposed to run the targets, it is
Tangent.
it is challenging to do so, given the large amount of participants. Do you have any other suggestions to help avoid running almost another kilometer on race day? Now that's quite an interesting one. I think that's quite key for most people is they run a longer distance
Mm.
in a majors marathon. So over to
There's
you, Shona.
There's a slight difference, though, Nikki, between actually running that slightly extra, which I do think a lot of people do because they're not, they're not the elite to get the joy of running those tangents, easily. But so first, let's just differentiate between that what your Garmin says. So a race like Berlin, as an example, there is no way that they won't miss.
So it's
What's
accurately measured.
It's accurately measured.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So that
Accurately
your
measured.
Garmin
Yeah.
is not your
Yes.
Garmin is not telling you a better distance than what the actual race organizers have done. Okay. So let's just say, but I don't think that's what Monica's saying. Monica's saying that she
No.
finds she is running extra because she's not running the tangent. So it's really, really tough to do. Because these races are busy but as long as you can at least get into the correct kind of seeding block, I think that is really important. So make sure that you seed yourself well when the races ask you for that information. Try not to perhaps embellish your goal and go a bit too fast, because then you're just going to have people coming past you, and equally then not going too slow so that you are weaving in and out through people. So try and get a decent idea of what your goal race time will be so that you are seated correctly, and then following that blue line on the ground is key. And it's tough to do, but I mean, I did it in London, I did it in Chicago, and it actually blows my mind how many people don't do it, so you just have to try and stick onto that blue line. Obviously, don't try and cut people off to get to it. But just trying to stick to that as much as you can. And as you're coming up to the water tables, I find just gently veering towards that table as opposed to like a sharp cut and a sharp cut back, because that's just running courtesy as well. You don't want to cut anyone else off.
Yeah.
Always look behind you. So that's from my perspective, Nikki. From you, I mean, you've also run a lot of these international marathons, and they are busy and they are congested. What are some of your advice?
I mean, that's absolutely what I do, is I try and hold the blue line. And I try and put myself in a good seeding. It's really interesting, actually. We had a big London 10K here this weekend, and this weekend passed, and I had a couple of runners doing it, and they were supposed to start in the first pen, but were on the late train, or the train was delayed. So they ended up in the fourth pen. They're good runners. And they said it was just terrible from just trying to run round people and the congestion. And I think that also absorbs your energy as well as just adds that little bit extra on, and you get frustrated with it as well. And I think, it is difficult because you are in the majors and you do have to allow for that sort of thing. And it's just the way it is, I'm afraid. But so if you slightly allow for that overshoot, but there's not much else you can do apart from just like kind of being relaxed about it and just accepting that that's it. And I'm afraid I see a lot of people who claim their marathon time when their watch beeps. I don't know about you. And I'm like, no.
When you cross the line, the official time, mat to mat, or gun to mat, whatever the race is doing, absolutely, that is not.
I noticed.
Your watch does not.
I know. I notice a lot of influencers doing that on Instagram nowadays. This is my actual time. It's like, no, because it's in the race.
Nikki, I mean, I know Ntutu, we've had Ntutu on the call before. He knows someone who did a 5K time trial on the track, right? So the track is a measured distance.
Yes.
And he stopped his watch when his watch clicked 5Ks. But you could clearly see that he had stopped like 200 meters from the line because he was running on the track. So it's a measured distance, so please don't. And let me just mention this. I think this is important as well for you, Monica, is that when you are pacing your marathon with your watch, then make sure you use the signboards and time rather than what the kilometers that your watch is saying. So the signboards are correct. So if your pacing chart says you need to be at the 5K mark at 30 minutes, make sure you check your watch when you're at the signboard and not what your watch says, because that'll also
Definitely.
just help with the pacing as well. Okay.
Especially at somewhere like Berlin and stuff, they're gonna be pretty accurate and yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
no, absolutely. There's no ways the world majors measure those races incorrectly.
Yeah.
And then with races like Chicago and Berlin, I mean,
And
your watch
London.
loses GPS.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I mean, that's it, 'cause your Garmin's affected by the buildings and where you're running around and all that sort of stuff, and if you've got a switchback as well, it'll also sort of underread and stuff, so you just can't rely on it. You've gotta rely on the races and the measurement and the
mm,
distances then and there.
mm.
So,
Yeah,
yeah, it's a shame, but it's just one of those things, I'm afraid. Yep.
yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, good, Monica. I hope that helps. Next question is from Anne. Anne is from California. And says, I've recently been diagnosed with an autoimmune disease, rheumatoid arthritis. I'm not sure how this is going to affect my running going forward. I'm 55 and this came as a big shock, but I would still like to run a marathon this November. Can you help me create a program that will allow for this? If you want to recover from sessions faster, not feel tired all the time, run pain and injury free, and improve your endurance, then be sure to join me in my upcoming training specifically for female runners over the age of 45. In it, I'll share with you my simple 5-step framework that will transform your running. Simply scan the QR code on screen now or click on the link in the description to save your seats in the training now. We look forward to seeing you there. Nikki,
Oh, I'm
yeah.
sorry to hear that, Anne. That must have been, quite a shock. It's always hard when you're dealt these health cards,
Mm,
as you go on, especially if you have a love for running or any kind of sports, really, and when it's a bit life limiting.
mm,
Um, you know, it's not an easy condition. It really affects your joints. That can really sort of create quite sore and achy joints. So, given that you've been diagnosed with it and assuming that you now have some form of medication for that, and hoping that you've got the condition quite stable, that would be the first thing I would say to
mm,
do before you set about training for a marathon, because a marathon is a hard stress on a body. Just in normal good health, it is a hard stress.
mm,
So what you want to make sure is that you have the right meds and you're feeling good and everything is kind of stabilized for you, and you've minimized, and your consultant, your doctor, is good for you to go with that. I don't know your running history, Anne, so I'm not quite sure where you've been, if you've run many marathons or if you're new to marathon running. But I would suggest setting about a plan. It's very doable, what I'd say.
mm.
It's very doable. It's just, as we sort of harp on a lot, it's about smart training. With autoimmune diseases, you tend to suffer a bit more from fatigue,
Mm.
more than you kind of give I think it's always very difficult. My mum had a lot of these autoimmunes, and she always said the hardest thing was the tiredness, but people
Mm.
don't see that. They just think, "Oh, for goodness
Yeah,
sake, you know, push on through. Come on, let's go." But it's real, and you need to schedule that into the day. So it is about good rest and recovery. So
yes.
my general advice was this with this is running every second day, or certainly always having a rest and recovery day the day after you run, as much as you can, as much
Mm.
as possible. When you get to marathon running, you're going to be doing longer runs. So I wouldn't run the day after. I would always have a rest and recovery day the next day and really
Mm.
focus on that recovery. Maybe if you have the luxury to do so, of having a nap in the middle of the day. But it's about, and we really kind of do this a lot in Coach Parry in our training plans. We schedule quite a lot of rest and recovery. We look for folks to do 4 runs a week, but even maybe 3 runs a week might suit you better.
Mm.
And just bear in mind, when you go to 3 runs a week, maybe you want to do 4 runs a week, but actually 3 runs might be better,
Yeah,
because you just might progress further, and also because of the impact of running, it just might aggravate your condition slightly. So perhaps doing 1 session a week cross training on a bike might suit you better, and it will be a bit of finding out what works best for you in this particular phase.
yeah,
Strength training is also really good. We always recommend it, as we've said before, but you will find that you get very fatigued from that as well. So
yeah.
again, it is a real balance. I probably wouldn't do more than 2 strength training a week just because of this fatigue level that you might have with the autoimmune. And again, you will know your body best because you are living in your body day to day and just how much fatigue you get. And also, the fatigue can build up. So if you have a heavy training week, but you felt fine and it's okay, you might find that the fatigue is then the following week where you kind of get it. So actually, it is about pacing yourself. I always think that sometimes these sort of things are better with a one-to-one coach, just someone who can really tap into what
Yeah.
you're doing, as well as you communicating how your body is with that.
Yeah, we have one of our other coaches and Coach Perry Devlin. He coaches someone with rheumatoid arthritis, and she still competes in marathons. She actually PB'd a couple of months ago. So
Very
I
doable.
think it's very, very doable. But I think, again, the most important thing, as Nicky says, is firstly just make sure that your meds and that the condition is stable. I know just with some experience with athletes that I've worked with, that's a long process to make sure that they get you onto the right meds, because they put you on and then they wait 6 months and then they check how that works. So that for me would be the most important thing, is to get that condition stable. But it's definitely doable once that is stable, that we can definitely allow you.
I mean, she's looking to run a marathon in November, and I would just sort of say is like, how important is it to you? And if you are going to run it and it's just a non-negotiable and you do want to run it, and it's so important to you, then I would factor in a lot of walk running as well, and just take it back a level so you can allow those meds and everything to settle and balance and stabilize, and perhaps just that less is more approach, that you end up just a little bit more walking and complete that marathon safely. But because the main thing is your health, and you just don't want to have a flare up and then be struggling with that. So you probably, if you're running, you probably want to keep running for many years. So it is important that you balance that. It's a shame, but you'll get there. You'll get there. Cool.
Yeah. Good. Next one.
Anything else? Right. Okay. Next one. Let's go. Let's go. So, how do I pronounce this name? Sari.
Sorry. Yeah.
Sari from the Coach Parry Forum in South Africa. Right. Does anyone have any recommendations for a good sports bra? A comfy one that looks good as well as being supportive. Right. This is definitely your bag, because I don't really need much in that way. I just tend to sort of get whatever's going, holds me in, and that's me. Don't have big boobies. How about you?
Such an important question. But even Nicky, and I'm going to say this, you did mention that, but I mean, even so, there's just evidence that even your size, even if it isn't a big size, you still need the right sports bra. So I do recommend that you get that checked out. It's important, because I think what women do is they just go and buy one of those, pullover bras, and then we think we need to run and go. There are so many different factors that influence breast size, breast cup size, waist size. And so ideally, we really should be going for a fitting for that. To get the correct fitting around your waist, to get the correct fitting of the cup size as well. And, to really ensure that, because, let me give you an example. There's around 10 to 12 centimeters of movement within your breasts when you are running. And of course, pace and size does make a slight difference there, but 10 to 12 centimeters of movement is a lot. So before we even talk performance, we have to speak breast health. And so one of the things, now I forgot the name of the ligament that's here in the breast. Oh my gosh, it's just left my brain. But it's that obviously gets pulled under a lot of pressure, and as we age, that gets ligament laxity, like all the other ligaments do, and that's why our breasts start to sag a little. And so if that ligament is constantly being pulled on, we also have a lot of lymph nodes and other things that are under there that are really important that we need to look after. So from a health perspective, we definitely need to make sure we're in the right bra. From a performance perspective, let me give you an example. If there are two people, so there are two Shonas, right? They have the same physiology. They're both wearing the same super shoes, and they run a marathon. Shona A has a good fitting sports bra and Shona B doesn't. Shona A will beat Shona B by a mile in a marathon. So that's how much of a performance increment it has.
Really?
So just from that movement in the breast, that 10 to 12 centimeters of movement causes you to not be as biomechanically efficient in running forward, because we land up, there's movement side to side. Very often women with big breasts will also then crouch their shoulders in to sort of try and support themselves a little bit more. And so then they're also not running efficiently, and they land up twisting their body side to side. So it can be as much as a 1.6 kilometers a mile difference in performance. So it, everyone's looking for that little
Yes.
5% from their
Oh,
shoes at
I'm
the
off to get
moment.
mine
Nikki,
too.
I think you're gonna have to go get fitted for a bra. And so there's a few things though. Let's just things you need to look out for. So the general requirement is that if you are a small C or a bigger B, you can get away with one of those bras that's just a compression bra.
Pullover.
You can get away with it. I still think it's good to go get fitted for one. Yes, big B sort of up. It's highly recommended that you go get fitted for a bra. And some of the things you want to look out for is that you want to make sure that your cup size isn't. So if you can see gaping on your cup size on the cup, that means that bra is too big for you. If you've got popping out of the sides, that means that cup size is too small for you. If it's riding up the back, what often is happening is that you've tugged too much on the straps, and I just see that happen all the time. Women just creating craters in their shoulders, just thinking that that's going to hold things in place. And
we want
so,
nice high boobies, don't you?
no, exactly. And that like big mono boob. And so, yeah, we really just want to get measured for it. And then the other thing that they're companies that do this is the material that you're looking for. So the good moisture wicking material, because if you don't have that, if it's just a cotton or a polyester bra, what that does is it doesn't pull the sweat away from your skin, and that causes chafing. Whereas if a good sports bra will have a good moisture wicking material, which pulls the sweat away from the body and allows it to evaporate. So that prevents chafing as well. So I personally am a fan of Anita bras. They are international. There are many different little distributors around the world. I have one. I have two. I'm getting another one now, actually. And the two I have, I bought 7 years ago, if not even more.
They last well.
They are expensive. Okay. But we are spending, I don't know what it is in pounds or dollars, but like 3,000 or 4,000 rand for a pair of shoes. I don't know how much is a pair of,
a couple of £100 for shoes.
yeah, and those we change every 3 months, So I highly recommend this. Go and get fitted for a sports bra. It'll last you longer than your shoes do, and it's well worth it from a health perspective and from a performance perspective. So yeah.
I mean,
So,
they are expensive.
sorry, just to answer. I don't know if it looks good. I mean, everyone has a different taste. But yeah, that's almost the last priority for me. I think I know a lot of the youngsters, the Gen Zers, are running around in their crop tops, but they are nice looking bras. They definitely are. So I recommend going to get fitted though. It's really, really important. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a big trend as well, just to run in your bras and have prettier bras. So I think people are creating prettier bras nowadays. So look around and stuff. But yeah, no, it's a good one. That's quite interesting, all those facts.
Yeah, I think it's another deep dive, Nikki. I think we must do into maybe the intricacies of a sports bra, because I haven't even touched on the surface of half of the things. I mean, we actually did a comrades boot camp this year, beginning of the year, and we had one of the Anita bra people come in and explain things. And it was a gentleman who came and explained, and he was brilliant. So I love it. On the back of his shirt, it said "Support Crew," which I thought was brilliant, because like they're just funny. And he just stood up and he was like, "Ladies, I'm not here to mansplain you. You obviously know," but his knowledge of the technology of a bra was phenomenal. I mean,
right.
The way they, like, every female has a different length from her nipple down to the bottom of the boob, and so like there's so many different things that come into play, and the different sizes. There were like 8 different things that he said, the different technology that went into these bras. So yeah, might get him on, and he honestly, I felt I learned from him. There was no mansplaining. It was amazing.
Really interesting.
So really,
you must be the envy of lots of men.
yeah. He doesn't do the fittings, I'm sure. He did say that, but I love these shirts. Yeah, just saying "Support Crew," which I thought was quite funny. But
it's brilliant. Anyways, excellent. Yeah. All right.
Anyways, good. Sorry, I hope that helps.
Yeah. Cool. Next question from Nicole from Cape Town. Okay. Will collagen supplements make a difference to my training? Now, this is an interesting one, and I have been asked this just randomly this week as well. A couple of females asked me this. What I didn't really know how to answer, I have to be honest. So your thoughts, Shona, on this?
Yeah, Nikki, and it's an important question, because you and I were speaking offline around how much menopausal females are getting bombarded with all of these things. You must take this. You must take this. You must take this, and it is tough or hard to decide what to take. And so, let me give you the scientific literature. Essentially, there is no literature at the moment to support that collagen supplements make a difference to running training, to endurance training, to even a little bit. There isn't a lot to support. The literature's a little bit out on joint health and not joint health, joint pain, and if it does help that. So from a literature perspective, what the answer should be is no, it doesn't make a difference. Okay, because that's what the literature says at the moment. But that's at the moment. From an anecdotal point of view, from some of the clients I have, some of the friends I have who are runners, they've found that it does help, so they are taking collagen. They are also taking creatine though as well. So, so we're not, it could be the creatine. I actually have a friend who started taking, she had such bad joint pain. She's in the beginning of perimenopause. And I said to her that I really recommend that you take creatine, and it helped with her joint pain. I said, you can try collagen later, but try the creatine first. And so, anecdotally, I have had clients who say that it has helped. So that's anecdotal evidence. But so if you want to take it and try it. It's not going to hurt you. But I would say don't take it with creatine as a sacrifice. So if you're wanting to take a supplement that's going to make a difference, take creatine. That we know that is well reviewed in the literature. Take that. Make sure you're eating enough. Make sure you're eating enough whole foods. Make sure you're getting enough protein, and then add in the collagen if you want to. And so if you're adding it into your smoothie, of course that's a little bit extra, then go for it. As I say, some of my clients have said that it has helped with their joint pain, but don't do it in spite of the creatine. Make sure that I would say the creatine first up. So.
I think this is an interesting one because as an over 50-year-old and on Instagram and Facebook, I just feel that I'm bombarded with adverts all the time about collagen, and that you have to take it. It is a must. It's changed your life. But I think what's interesting here as well is Nicole hasn't actually said if she has joint pain or not.
Yes.
So what's interesting is if she hasn't got joint pain, then I'm not sure. Will it make a difference? Probably not. I don't know. And if she does have joint pain, but she's not on things like HRT, then there may be other low-lying fruit that she can grab first before doing this. But actually, collagen supplements and training, otherwise the guys would be taking it as well, wouldn't they, sort of thing. So
exactly. Yeah.
I'm not sure. I know we're not guys, but I'm not sure that it's what's her symptoms and what is she trying to sort there, I suppose.
Yeah, good point.
I think it's a really interesting, but on Instagram, Facebook, and all these things, we're just blanketly told and sold to all the time that we have to get collagen, and it's I find it. I've almost switched off to collagen. I've never taken it. I don't know how it would affect. I did have sore joints pre-50s. But that just eased. I had it for about a year and a half.
Okay.
And I did go on HRT, so I never thought to do it at that particular point. But anyway, it's an interesting one. Hopefully, Nicole, I mean, if you can give us a wee bit more information with that, Nicole, we can sort of guide you a little bit more, possibly better on that.
But you're right. She's talking about a training making a difference to her training. Something that's going to make a difference to your training is creatine, because that's going to help recovery. So
Protein,
if you're looking for
carbs.
something, if you're feeling like you're not recovering, if you're feeling like you want something to help your training, then yes, make sure that creatine is the supplement, but make sure that you're eating enough. Make sure you're eating enough carbohydrates, as Nikki says, and of course enough protein. Those basics will make a difference to your training. Unfortunately, though, on Instagram and YouTube and all the rest, that's not sexy enough. That doesn't sell. Simple, good food and training doesn't sell. So unfortunately, Nikki.
There we go. Oh, well, that's 5 questions today and barely any strength chat at all.
I know you, and I love that the only 2 times that we mentioned strength, you mentioned it, which makes me happy. So that's very cool. But those are great questions. As always, please pop any new questions below in the comments, or click on the link that's in the show notes there to send in a video question or a written question as well. As we mentioned at the beginning of the episode, if you are heading to Valencia at all for the Valencia Marathon, let us know. Nikki and I and a few other Coach Perry members are going, so we'd love to catch up. If you see us on the course, don't laugh, just high five and give us a boost as we go along the way. But thank you so much for listening. Nikki, you want to have a last say there?
Oh, I was just going to say, if anyone wants a coaching call, a podcast coaching call, let us know in the comments below. We'd love to do a wee coaching training chat on
Excellent idea.
the run up to Valencia as well. Yes, sorry, I didn't mean
No,
to.
no, I love that. I love that. That's excellent. Yeah, we're always happy to help someone, and you can come in and ask us all the questions that you want. So that'll be great.
Yes.
Excellent. All
Right.
right, Nikki. Thank you so much for your time as well as always, and everyone else. Thank you for listening. Hope you got some value from today's episode, and we will see you all again next week. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers. Bye.